This is it. The moment has come. The excitement is boiling over. Here we have the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Xmen BONEBREAKER Build-A-Figure Wave. The Build-A-Figure itself, Bonebreaker. So we have all of the different pieces. And this one, it seems kind of like a complicated build. There are no instructions, but I think I could put it together without any issues. I have one of the packages nearby ready to go, so I can see like which piece maybe kind of goes where or whatever. But I know that with some of these earlier pieces, like they can only go together a certain way anyway. So I know this piece here, this red, it goes in the front. So I know that is front facing, and I think that's gonna go here. And again, that slips in and only fits there. So like it wouldn't fit right on this side. That doesn't work. So it fits in there like so. And we get the other piece, and we're gonna line that up. You can see these parts peg into those holes there. Wait, nope, see, I have it turned. Okay, there we go. So you have to make sure that these like hoses or whatever, these coils, are fit over that section there. So then we can now piece it together. Oops, that crack didn't sound good. And there is the basic tank. So holy shit, that took me a long time just to do that. But anyway, there is the tank. So now we can start to kind of piece some of those things together like this that I didn't even put in there, which I was supposed to have done before putting this together, because now that's not going to work. So my bad. So here, which way this goes in, and again, these are going to only fit in a certain way. That doesn't really fit too nicely there. But that seems, well, I guess that seemed to kind of work out. Oh, that better. Look at that. It kind of snapped into place there, so not too shabby. Messed this up because I already dropped it. And then there. Again, you got to make sure the coils go over that section there. So now I can piece the tank back together again, because I have things in the right spot now. So there, the tank is back together. We have that motor section that's put on back there. We have a couple of pieces. So we have these two barrels here, and the barrels are just going to kind of fit on the back. So there are these pegs here, but I don't see peg holes on these barrels. So, oh wait, there it is. Peg hole there, peg hole there. All I got to do is, you know, look. So I guess we'll put these to the outside, because that kind of gives it a little bit more of an aesthetic look to it. So we can just peg that on there. We'll get this one. We can just peg that on right there. The barrels are actually different, it looks like, as well. They might be the same. Yeah, they're the same. They just kind of look opposite since they're on opposite ends. So we're going to peg these barrels right back on there, like so. And again, there is our tank coming together quite nicely. We have this piece, and I have no idea where this piece goes. Like, I'm looking at the package, I don't even see it on the damn, like, image of the Build-A-Figure on the back of the package. Like, I have no idea where this is gonna go. Maybe it's supposed to cover up that hole there. Yeah, sure as hell was. So now I'm gonna have to take it apart again to piece this back. So give me 1 second, and then I'm gonna get right to that. So here we go. Okay, so the good thing is I didn't actually have to take the whole thing apart or anything. I was just able to kind of open this up a little bit, so then I can get this in there. There's two peg holes in the ends of this grate, kind of just peg in there. So here we have the tank, the body to Bonebreaker. So that wasn't so bad, but now we got to get his body on there. So let's do that now. Okay, we're just gonna get his body, and then it just pegs right onto this portion there, like so, and that's it. Now, time for his head, but let's get in for a closer look at that. The final piece to the Build-A-Figure, the head sculpt. And then you just pop it on there. And there we have Bonebreaker, half man, half tank. That is just wild. His glasses go up, you can see his face. He has his big ass gun here, and then he also has interchangeable hands. So he has a pair of fists. So you have the two hands, and they are both trigger finger hands, so he can hold on to the gun on either hand. And then you can switch those out if you would like. But man, this is actually pretty badass. It's really cool. I know Dwight Stahl has been wanting to do a Bonebreaker forever. And look at that, we finally got one. I know there was a lot of speculation before, like, oh, if they did a Riders figure, they could do a Bonebreaker. But no, now we have it as a Build-A-Figure, and I think that works out really well. It looks really, really damn cool. I really like it. You guys let me know what you think so far. Alright, so let's try and take the closer look, because it's not a standard size action figure. We're trying to take a closer look here as best that we can. Looking at the head sculpt's cool. I like the screaming, like laughing look. You know, he really looks crazy. And then the sunglasses that you could flip up so you could see his crazy big ol' eyes there. That is definitely a nice touch. That we could do that as opposed to getting like two different head sculpts. I think this really works out. And you can't take the glasses off, but I would think, you know, that's how it's going to look. Anyway, so it works out really well. This big-ass gun looks pretty good. Nice sculpted detail to it. It's just done in a flat, like, super dark gray. Not even quite a black color plastic. A little bit of a gray, but now that I can look at it here with the light shining, I could definitely see some added paint there. So we got some scuff marks and some missing paint that they you know, show off by adding some silver paint to it. So that's actually a really nice touch there at the end of the barrel. Very cool that they did that, because usually, you know, they could have completely gotten away with adding no paint to this at all. Nobody would probably even notice, but that little bit of detail there, that's not bad. Nice touch by Hasbro. Now looking at Bonebreaker straight on, just the white hair. You have this collar piece that's kind of floating. It's a silver color. Unfortunately, he has pinned arms. Pinless would have been a nice touch, and I'm sure they have arms that could have worked that was pinless. So missed opportunity there, because I think that brings the aesthetic down a little bit when you have such an interesting, different type of figure altogether. And then you got pins on the elbows. Not the end of the world by any means, but you know, definitely something to notice. Okay, so now looking at some of the details. So looking at the tread pattern of the wheels, what are these here in the tread? I guess, you know, I'm trying to think. Okay, so the sprockets on the tank. So it's just done in this like dark green color, this, you know, military type look with the metal. But we get similar to his gun, how at the end of the barrel they added like the silver paint to give that like worn down, weathered effect to it. So we get that on the sprockets here. So nice added paint detail there, which is pretty good. You know, typically we would think, oh, Hasbro is going to cheap out and just give us the, you know, the flat plastic color, but no, they added some paint, and that paint actually kind of, you know, gives it a realistic look. Unfortunately, the green of the tank itself didn't really get any paint. As you can see, it's just this like shit green color, which I don't mind, by the way. That's just kind of, you know, how it looks. You know, there's some nice sculpted detail in it. And it has like this powder coated look to it, I guess. This can open up. I don't know if that's supposed to be like for storage or whatever, but one cool thing is that, you know, he could store his extra hands in there if that's what you wanted to do. Can't store the gun or anything, but you could store the hand in there, so that's nice. You know, I'm not going to lose the hands, you know, depending on how you store your accessories. Looking at the front, we get some added silver paint here to show kind of the weathered, scratched up look of the tank. So that's nice on those front fenders. As you know, as you would roll into battle, that'd be the first part to kind of really take any hits and get, you know, be affected. Little headlights there. A barrel of a gun here. It's just done in the same like darkish gray color as the tread. And ooh, I didn't know this. Look at that. It's all in a ball joint, so that can move around. That is pretty cool. I didn't see that coming, actually. I didn't even bother trying to test it out earlier. So that's definitely a really nice touch there. We have this casing right here. That is not removable or anything like that. It just stays there. The barrels, again, you can move the barrels out if you wanted to. We got this motor back here. So the belt of the motor is painted red. So that's like the only paint detail that's added to that. And it's unfortunate because you can hardly see it because, you know, Bonebreaker's right in front of it. But it's there. Some of these coils and these hoses get some silver paint that they're at, I guess, what would effectively be his torso. Not even torso, I guess his hip, I guess. A little bit of red paint there. It kind of moves in there, but it really doesn't rotate in the tank because of the design of some of these pieces. So this is going to stop it from moving. As you can see, the coils are just going to hit that. So that's a little unfortunate. That's kind of interesting that they would do that design. Like, it would be cool if he could have turned, but I guess that's not necessary because, well, actually, oh yeah, it's just ratcheted, so you know, he would just turn this upper body, but then see, it just popped on out. So I mean, is it supposed to be ratcheted and do that? Yeah, I guess so. So he could turn his torso, so that'll work in that sense. So I guess that's not anything to really be too worried about why this wouldn't turn or rotate, because you could just do that at, you know, the torso at the waist. But yeah, there is the Bonebreaker Build-A-Figure. And I must say, it is really, really cool. I really, really like it. It is very nice. Now let's see him with some of the other Reavers. Okay, so here are the Reavers. We have the Hellfire Club Donald Pierce. We have Lady Deathstrike Skullbuster, as well as Skullbuster came with an alternate head for Murray Reese, so I added that in there. I can see them kind of reissuing the same figure, even with obviously different skin tone for Wade Cole. Pretty Boy would be an awesome release to kind of round out the Reavers team. Who knows if Hasbro will do that. You know, as far as they're concerned, they're probably like, oh, you know, we've got kind of the most interesting looking one with Bonebreaker. Do we need to release more Reavers? I would think, yeah. Time will tell if that's something that they're going to do. Maybe another random character in an X-Men wave if they don't stick to like storyline waves. That would be pretty interesting to see. But, you know, nice little addition to the Reavers to have some form of the team. But Bonebreaker is definitely the highlight and the best one of the bunch. Oops, see, it's just kind of hard sometimes to turn him a little bit. It's just, I don't know, kind of weird. I wish he can twist in there a little bit better. But which brings us to the next point, articulation. So let's take a look at that, and it's not a whole lot. Okay, so we're going to do kind of up close for the articulation because the tank treads, they don't actually roll or anything like that. That would be pretty damn awesome if they did, but unfortunately, maybe it's something they just couldn't figure out how to work. I mean, the tread is like a separate piece in here, and those sprockets, you know, like, if only they could have gotten them to turn, like the tread could actually work, because the tread is a separate piece in there, and it feels like it wants to, like, you know, it wants to go. It's just those don't actually spin. It'd be crazy if they did. But anyway, looking at the articulation. So Bonebreaker, he can look all the way down. He can look up that much, which is pretty cool because if he has the anti-aircraft weaponry, you know, he can look up and aim up, I guess. So that works out. He's got a little bit of neck pivot. You know, with his expression, I wish he could have had a little bit more, but, you know, it works. He can do a full rotation in there, of course. Shoulder, his arms can go up and out that much. Full rotation in there. Upper bicep swivel. There, it is a double jointed elbow, and again, there are pins because these are reused arms. It looks like the Spider-Man 2099 or Sunfire Buck arm. So the double jointed elbow there. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. Here on the trigger finger hands, we get the nice vertical hinge, so the up and down as opposed to the side to side horizontal. So perfect for holding weapon. The fists are the standard horizontal hinge. He has an ab crunch, so he can crunch down that much. Not bad. Crunch back that much. Pretty good. So especially if he's looking up, you can really get him to look up like that, and it doesn't look so bad. This black strap, it kind of cuts off at a certain point because there's nothing else it could really do, so just kind of be aware of that. But yeah, and then he can turn, but you really are going to snap it into place with that whole, how the ratcheting system works. It's almost easier to just, actually I can't pop them off now, it seems. You can pop them off and then turn him, you know, into the specific pose that you want to get him into. But, you know, if you add enough force, I guess that's where it's difficult. But again, turning it, well, he can do it. It's not as smooth as I would like, but maybe that's better because, you know, he's very secure in there. He's not going to fall or anything like that. But that's it for the articulation. Again, there's just really not a whole lot of articulation for him, and I guess there really shouldn't be. How could there be, you know? The only other thing would be this barrel here being on a ball joint and being able to move around, but yeah, that's it. Okay, so here is the Bonebreaker wave in its entirety. If I were to rank this is a difficult one to rank because it's just kind of random, and to be honest, it's not the best executed wave. Now, take out, you know, the repaint, reuse, all of that. You know, it can be decent because you get a wide character selection at least. But for me, it's a semi-lackluster wave. But there are some really good things about it. You know, first appearance character, it's really cool. It just unfortunately happens to be Sabretooth, where everybody likes the big, large, hulking, you know, Sabretooth. Havoc, just, you know, we have a similar Havoc figure. It is a better body, sure. You know, for me, it wasn't, you know, a real necessary thing. Vulcan, again, is still going to be the highlight and the standout, aside from Bonebreaker, because a Bonebreaker wins that for sure. So it's just kind of tough. If I were to rank, I'd probably look at Vulcan, Wolverine, Siren, Sabretooth, Maggot, Havoc, Darwin. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one. And then Bonebreaker, if I included the Build-A-Figure, which I don't normally. I guess I always do because I do both. Bonebreaker wins it for sure. But Vulcan, again, is going to be the highlight if you're getting just an individual figure from the wave. Vulcan's the one that you're going to want to get. But I do recommend picking up the entire wave because Bonebreaker is pretty damn awesome. And I think it's one that you are not going to want to pass up, not going to want to miss. I foresee the Build-A-Figure probably being fairly hefty on the aftermarket. So, you know, go from there on what you want to decide. Will you be able to find some of these on clearance in stores? It's possible. We already know that Target's going to be getting solid cases again of this wave, the Thor wave. The controller wave hasn't hit anywhere in the US yet. So, you know, with Target, those solid waves, they tend to go to clearance because they get so many of an individual character, individual figure, that there's not enough people to buy them. But then you also run the risk is that Target stores may not have every figure available to buy in store. Like the Doctor Strange wave, I never saw all of those in store, even though I guess they had a spot for each one. But that goes back to like the Eternals, right? They didn't carry Sprite or Kingo. So sometimes they have the whole wave, sometimes they don't. So you may not be able to get it, and then you have to scramble to find one. And sometimes who knows what decisions they're going to make. For all we know, they're going to have like Vulcan and Wolverine not carried in store. Well, Wolverine, I guess they've already been found in store, but Vulcan might not be available in Target stores, and maybe Sabretooth or something stupid like that. You always run that risk, and we don't know yet. It's too soon to tell what Target's going to do. But, you know, we shall see. But anyway, I've kind of rambled on there. That's the review of Bonebreaker. I mean, not a whole lot in terms of the articulation, but an awesomely designed Build-A-Figure that really changes things up as opposed to just the standard arm, legs, body, torso. We got a tank, a freaking tank. That's cool. Adds another to the Reavers, more X-Men villains and everything. You guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of Bonebreaker? Are you excited for him? What is your plan? You gonna get the whole wave or just piece it out and get Bonebreaker eventually? I'm curious. You guys let me know in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.